Hi, it's Kathleen, and last year we channeled all of our styly, trendy energy and came up with some 2023 trend predictions. So, 1 year later, let's take a look back at 2023 and see what we got right, what we got so wrong, and what that might tell us about style and trends and life in general in 2024. If you're new here, hi, I'm Kathleen. I think I already said that, and I used to work as a designer for a well-known, potentially notorious mall brand retailer. Now, at this point, that's pretty far in my past. Now I focus on sustainable style and art, but I did learn a thing or two about trend cycles and style in general during my stint in the clutches of fast fashion retail design. Was it worth it? Probably not. So without further ado, let's look back at our 2023 predictions and dig right in. Okay, our first key trend was creative expression that is unified. As a reminder, I thought that meant that we were going to be stepping away from hardcore, mismatched, clashing items and into more cohesive, still colorful and expressive looks that still have tons of creative liberties. So I predicted a little less pattern clashing and wild layering and a little more color blocking and exploration of unusual silhouettes. So what ended up happening in the past year? Well, I think a lot of column A and a lot of column B. I think folks still explored pretty in-depth, lots of texture and unusual compositions, while also diving pretty deep into color. I'll start with one of the biggest style obsessions and trends of 2023, color season analysis. Remember these? There was a period of time where everyone and their grandma was trying to figure out if they were a bright winter or a warm autumn or a shiny Charizard. And I might sound like I'm down on this idea. It's fine if that's what you want to do. I just don't personally subscribe to the idea that someone can only wear one color palette. And when I saw people, throwing away their entire wardrobe and buying an entire new one in an arbitrary color palette, that felt a little wasteful to me. But I can totally appreciate the fact that folks are trying to explore and discover what they feel good in, especially if they're less confident in the style realm and they're trying to figure things out for themselves. Anyways, back to my original point about color, this led a lot of people towards more color in their wardrobe, which is exciting. I also think that dopamine dressing stayed really strong this year, and one of its most iconic hallmarks is super bright color-blocked looks. And taking that a step further, some very specific colors had huge impact this year. Specifically red, remember Tomato Girl Summer, cobalt blue, which is one of my favorites, and of course, pink. So this year we got tons of fully monochrome fits featuring these luscious, bright hues, and it just made me really happy to see people exploring and draping their bodies in pretty colors. I'm a simple gal. Overall, I'd say this prediction was pretty spot on. 9 out of 10. I didn't know we were going to be rating these, but that's content, baby. Okay, our next prediction was talking about how novelty items would rise to fame. And as a reminder, by novelty, I mean statement pieces that might feature a licensed character or an exaggerated detail or non-typical color palettes or patterns. And I mentioned in the video last year that typically larger brands will only add a couple novelty or what they might call fashion items to their collections because they're more expensive to produce. You've got these unique details that might need to be fabricated completely from scratch, and that means they gotta spend more money on it, which is not typically something businesses like to do. But guess what? 2023 was the year of the novelty detail. Heck yeah. I made a whole video about this, feel free to go check it out, but we all know that bows/ribbons as just a graphic detail or icon have been everywhere. And I'm a certified ribbon/bow stan, so don't take that as me saying I don't like it. I love it. And one could say that bows have been around for forever. And yes, you are correct, but this year especially, the bow became almost like a character in and of itself. And I'm here for it. I love a little personification. Speaking of that, we also saw very specific licensed characters kind of just shoot into the stratosphere of popularity. Like lots of characters from the Sanrio universe, and we cannot forget our omnipotent overlord, Snoopy. When I was in Japan in late 2022, I noticed Snoopy everywhere. On coffee mugs, on shirts and keychains. And now I can't scroll Instagram for more than 5 minutes without seeing a meme like this. Not that I'm complaining. Look at this guy. And maybe that's because my personal Instagram algorithm only shows me cute art and stray kids and Snoopy, but I think it's pretty common knowledge that Snoopy is extremely loved right now. Finally, I think this was the novelty item that really cemented this idea into the Rosetta Stone of 2023. Remember these? These little guys. When the Mischief Big Red Boots hit the scene in February of 2023, my DMs were obliterated with y'all sending me images of these voluminous red boys. And yeah, I get it. They are the noveltiest of all novelty items. Love them, hate them. Those are some one-of-a-kind shoes. But like I also mentioned in last year's video, the problem with these one-off items, or items in general that skyrocket to trendy viral fame, is that they are immediately chased by knockoffs from sites like Temu and Shein, etc., so that more folks can spend less money and take part in the trend and feed this fast fashion cyclical monster. And I'm not saying that the Big Red Boots are like amazing quality and sustainable and you should only buy the original hundreds and hundreds of dollars ones. No, they're probably made just as harmfully as the knockoffs. But I'm talking more about this hysteria that we feel as consumers to get a piece of the action that maybe we could steer away from in 2024. So, bottom line, was the novelty item prediction accurate? Yes. For better or worse, I would say so. 10 out of 10. Love the silly, goofy mood of this one. It's been a while since I just sat down and talked at you for this long. Are you doing okay? Are you? Do you have some Wawa? You can go get some, I'll wait. Okay, our next prediction that we had last year was elevated homebody. That doesn't sound good. This was the prediction that basics and essential items would get a facelift, like using up-leveled fabrics and silhouette details that allow you to feel a little more put together while staying comfortable. And this originally stemmed kind of back in 2020 when more people were spending time at home and working from home, and that societal shift has not gone away. Heck, I was working in an office in 2020 and have been working from home ever since, so I can definitely attest to the desire for comfortable items that I can wear at home while I'm working without feeling like I'm in my pajamas, you know? So what did we notice in 2023 specifically? Kind of breaking the bounds of this just being style focused, I feel like a lot of people kind of entered their self-care, cozy girl eras. It became a trend to be cozy, which I love. Cozy vlogs, comfort creators are more popular than they have been before. Staying hydrated becomes a topic of capital D discourse on TikTok, with water talk and Stanley Cups specifically, and specific cozy items went viral like those platform UGG slip-on things, luxurious lounge sets, the list goes on. As a soft clothing only connoisseur, I can get on board with this. Let's be cozy. As for the trend prediction, I don't think it was that much of a brain blast moment to predict that we would want to stay comfortable in 2023. So it was a spot-on prediction, but in the sky is blue kind of way, you know? All right, our next prediction for 2023 was, what does this say? Introspective decadence / blending boundaries? I need to rewatch this portion of the video. I don't remember what I meant. Okay, what I meant was combining the digital world and the real world. Why didn't I just say that? Is a good question. This surreal abstraction that still feels organic, digitized prints, etc., etc. So in the trend prediction video, I mentioned that this seemed like the next logical step after the introduction of the Y2K craze of the last couple years. And yeah, I think that this is a spot-on progression of that. This past year, we continued to see more mercury and metal motifs, this sharp but kawaii style that my friend E termed as soft violence. Cool. And I feel like closer to the end of the year, it coalesced in this, how do I explain this? Mid-aughts deviant art callback with a mix of grungy / mall punk accessories. If that was hard to follow, I think a great example of this style is Juliana Chahayed. You might know her as the girl that sings to you through the phone. I'm thinking back to the OCs I was drawing in my notebook in 6th grade. This is the style that I put them in. Oh, and I'm excited about this. Another way this futurism showed up in 2023 that actually overlaps with the previous trend of elevated homebody is the akubi style that rose to prominence last year. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I promise I did research. It's a Korean word, and in every video people were like, I don't know if I pronounced that right, so how do you say it? Please. So, like I was saying, the akubi trend origins lie in a South Korean brand of the same name, but that has a very specific aesthetic, but it almost grew to have a personality and characterization of its own once it became this amalgamation of specific style key points. So, to explain it as simply as I can, it's like if Rory Gilmore started to hang out with cyberpunks and wanted to kind of dress a little bit more like them, but was a little too scared to go all in. Does that make sense? It's this early 2000s inspired style that focuses on comfort with hints of futurism, tech, and alternative style. Think off-the-shoulder sweaters and leg warmers with more grungy cargo pants, Tamagotchi, flip screen camcorders, and silver chunky jewelry, all in this color scheme of black and white and brown and gray. We saw this a lot in idol styling, like K-pop idols, which makes sense because it's a South Korean brand, and I think it's cute. It's casual with personality. We love that. Okay, next, instead of doing these overarching predictions, I hit some very specific trends that I thought were going to be big in 2023, so let's go through them pretty quick. Sheer items. Yeah, I think these were still very popular in 2023. And to me, this will be hot forever because I love a little transparent moment. So in the 2023 video, I predicted that the transparency was going to change or evolve a little bit away from just this like mesh layer that we had been seeing into something a little chunkier, more profound, maybe a little kitschy or campy. So I thought that might mean like a netted crochet, which we did see last year, or more beaded pieces, which we did see last year. And I think my favorite thing was more of a focus on transparency on like the runway or at formal events. It's just so pretty and otherworldly. I love it. Also, this next one was spot on. I literally predicted corp core. I called it office core. I thought that since we were seeing kind of those pinstripe pants and waistcoats a lot in like 2022, I thought that would evolve into more just straight up office wear and suiting, specifically with like a 90s focus with over the top silhouettes. Ladies in suits, we love it. And guess what happened? Corp core. Suddenly, celebrities and then fashion girlies were rocking these tiny little glasses with white button-up shirts and little blazers, and specifically the tiny little silver secretary glasses. I think those are a callback actually to early 2000s rom-coms. Remember back then when the love interest lady would like wear these little silver spectacles at the office and everyone would be like, wow, she's wearing glasses, she's so hot, awooga. That's what that feels like to me. Anyways, back to the 2023 trend of corp core. It's just wearing business clothes. I'd love to see more people leaning into making it really their own, whether that's more over-the-top silhouettes or upcycling the pieces somehow, but yeah, wearing suits, it's fun. The next prediction from the 2023 video was cargo everything. This kind of just turned out to be a continuation of a theme. Cargo pants have been popular for the last couple years, and they've stayed popular, but I think they've just changed a little bit in the last year, where more interest in the low-waisted cargo pants was shown instead of the super high-waisted ones, which whatever, wear the pants that are comfortable for you. But in that video, I tried to also predict that we would go full cargo, like utility in everything. Utility belts, full flight suits. I don't think that really ended up happening that much in 2023, but a girl can dream. We'll give that a 5 out of 10, with the potential for more in 2024. And finally, the prediction I'm most proud of, the one that I kind of just came up with and y'all seem to really agree with and like, character dressing. Y'all remember character dressing? What I mean by character dressing is instead of latching onto one aesthetic that you make your entire personality, you treat your outfit of the day as the opportunity to become a new character. One day, you're Whiskey Grandpa. Maybe most days you're Whiskey Grandpa, I don't know, you. And the next day, you decide you want to be a mall goth with a heart of gold. I thought it would be great. And guess what? I think it came to fruition. Somehow, I don't know how this is possible, but core aesthetics became even more crystallized this past year, with seemingly a new character trend every week. We had Coastal Cowgirl. I already mentioned Tomato Girl Summer. People really leaned into this like fictitious casual cosplay, and we could say that this was people kind of frantically just trying to cling on to the next hot thing and do an exact replica of everyone else's Tomato Girl Summer look, but I really liked seeing people working with a prompt and coming up with new variations on the theme using their personal tastes and their existing wardrobes. So for the coming year, my hope is that instead of always using other people's prompts to inspire us, that we could try our hand at creating our own characters. It challenges us, it helps us learn what we like and don't like, how to curate and make mindful decisions about our style, which in turn helps us strengthen our own personal expression, and in the end, I think that's good for us. It's affirming. So 10 out of 10. Would character dress again, and will continue to do so. Okay, before we close out, let's talk about some trends that happened that I did not predict. First, Mary Jane's and ballet flats. These sleek, feminine shoe styles were back in full force. And I think this makes sense, especially after the recent obsession with really chunky and platform shoes that the pendulum would swing. And I also think that this makes sense with the more recent attention towards traditionally feminine details like ribbons and pink. Next thing I did not predict would be popular is denim maxi skirts. I didn't see it coming, but I think it makes sense with that early 2000s a QB style we talked about, coastal cowgirl. I get it. And perhaps the most surprising of all, underwear as pants. I personally found it pretty funny when that flash in the pan happened of a couple celebrities wore underwear as pants and everyone freaked out. And they're like, you can't make underwear as pants happen. It's not happening. It's just so silly. I like it. Like, wear silly stuff. Fashion is art, baby, and so are you. So wear those bloomers and let the whole world see it. And on a similar note, boxer shorts becoming like the hot short of the summer. That was not on my bingo card, but they are so comfortable. And finally, before I close out, I gotta touch on one more thing that I want to give myself a pat on the back for. If you haven't seen it, early last year I made this video about wearing your formal items in a more casual way. One, to get more wear out of your wardrobe, and two, to just be a little more creative with your styling. And one of my main points in that video, one of my main ideas to try was to focus on the top and the bottom. So for example, if you're wearing this formal dress, focus on the hair and the shoes. So maybe you wear some funky or casual shoes and keep your hair kind of casual and playful. It's a really nice balance with the more formal piece. And then suddenly the wrong shoe theory just appears in the internet miasma. And that theory is basically, if you're wearing something more fancy or classic, try and zhuzh it up by wearing the wrong shoes, aka something funky or casual. Sound familiar? Not saying that this was like a trademarked idea that I had, but it was more of like a that's what I've been saying kind of moment, you know? Anyways, we're losing daylight, so I'll let you go. Overall, I think we did a great job predicting trends. And personally, you probably know this if you've watched any of my other videos, but I don't really care about wearing trends, and I actively dislike it when people feel like they can't try something or like something if it's not generally accepted by the public at that very moment. Ooh, that really grinds my gears. So for 2024, let's aim for exploring more of what we like and following our noses to that sweet pie that is personal expression through creative styling. And on that note, I need your help. Next week, as a follow-up to this video, we're going to be looking at what might be coming down the pike in 2024 and 2025 and beyond for trends and style. So please let me know down below in the comments, what are your future predictions? Will we see more character dressing? What licensed character are we all going to be collectively obsessed with? Please be Parappa the Rappa, please be Parappa the Rappa. And also let me know what you would like to see more of in trends. Do we want to see more people making their own clothes? Yes. Do we want to see more sustainable practices? Yes. Do we want to see people just exploring whatever they want to wear and looking really cool doing it? Yes. So let me know. What would you like to see more of in fashion? What would you like to see people putting on their bodies? What do you want to put on your body? Drop your thoughts down below. I might feature them in next week's video, and I really appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed this look back, this retrospective at 2023. If you liked this video and you want to check out next week's 2024 video, then please feel free to subscribe so you're notified when it's posted and we can continue hanging out. I had fun. I don't know about you. Thanks for hanging with me, although you're very stinky, and that's why I love you. Okay, have a good one. Bye. Oh.